Namaskar. I'm indeed honored and humbled to be invited here on such a, firstly, a very distinguished institution with great heritage, and also for delivering this distinguished lecture. Because it's a learned audience and a Sanskrit university, I want to address those I consider to be traditional Sanskrit scholars. That's the group I'm here for, and I humbly seek collaboration with this group. My purpose has been to do Purva Paksh of Western Indology. We have its great Purva Paksh tradition. Today we are not facing issues with Buddhists or Purva Mimamsa or the old Charvaks. So while it's important to learn the Purva Paksh that was done in those days, the point is the real application of the technique has to be done in today's context. Today's Purva Paksh we have to do with today's Purva Pakshin. And so the tradition of Indology has been taken by Westerners today. The most prestigious places to get a PhD are in the West. Even the traditional scholars will tell you that. The most important places to publish your paper are controlled by Western journals and Western conferences. So something serious has happened. Until Ingalls' time, there was a genuine respect attempted by American scholars. We had European problems, European Orientalists, but the Americans were not in large scale following that. The Americans were trying to, because of the influence of people like Ingalls, they were trying to see things from the insider point of view. By insider, I mean the person who's a practitioner of a Vedic tradition, who has Shraddha, who has sadhana, who thinks that it is his Swadharma. And outsiders are people who don't see it this way. They study it as a language of those people, a dead culture, dead language of the past, looking for what's wrong in it, what's abusive, human rights problems, looking for a Marxist leftist perspective to see how it is the language of a caste, looking for divisiveness, portraying it as part of politics of oppression, and so on. So there is the insider view, which I think is represented by scholars in places like this, and then there is the outsider view. Both are okay. We have a tradition of debate. So we are not into banning, blaming, accusing, abusing. We respect opponents. But the control of the tradition, its discourse, has shifted too much into the hands of the outsiders. That balance has been lost. In contrast with this, the dominant China studies is done by Confucian institutes controlled by China. Their journals driven under the control of Chinese editors, editorial boards, their conferences. The most prestigious places to get a PhD in China studies is not Harvard, not Columbia, not Oxford, but Chinese universities. Same is true of Japan studies, similar thing you can say of Russia studies, French. See, these civilizations are studied in their own language. The most prestigious scholarship on Mandarin is done in Mandarin language journals, French in French journals. The fact that I'm speaking in English, the fact that I have to speak in English, the fact that Indology is done in English, most papers are written in English on the Sanskrit, is the problem. I am a product of the problem. Except I became self-conscious of the problem. I started doing something about it. And I started utilizing my knowledge as an insider to the problem, how to expose, how to stand out of it and criticize it and bring it to your knowledge. So my goal is to bring to your attention today a few things which insiders of our tradition must know. Once they know these things, you will be equipped to give the Uttar Paksh. If I can tell you the tattva of the issues with Western Indology that I find, and request that we work together and you develop the Uttar Paksh, then we have a good team.
If it is proven that Newton was a badmash, he was a scoundrel, then aeroplane will not start falling down because gravitation is gone. The nature of reality is independent of how somebody is understanding it.